Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott.Brown is brought to you by Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, Jewelry Forever at jewelryforever.ca, and Beautified by Romina. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott.Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott.Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott.Brown.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 225 of The Sit Down with Scott.Brown. And you may notice, people, we're not live. We're not live, Regine.
We're not?
We're not live. It's Sunday for you, but it is not Sunday for us. Are we here? Are we even here right now? Because, Regine, you and I actually both, at this very moment in time at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, June 4th, we are sitting in a movie theater in Cobourg, Ontario, attending the Eye to Eye International Film Festival, where my film Storage Room B is screening. So we're there right now.
And I bet you it's great.
Yeah, you haven't seen it yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you like it.
You're going to be blown away.
I know. Yeah. I should film. Oh, you can't film in a theater. I was like, I should film my reaction to watching.
You might be able to film yourself.
Yeah, you can do it.
We'll see.
We'll figure
Just
out.
sit in the back.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring in our guest right away. I mean, you guys just saw her because I showed you guys to her.
Yeah.
But you heard her voice, you've seen her, and she's no stranger to this show.
No. This is my third time. But first time live.
Yeah.
In person.
Well, not live. We're not live.
We're not live. Not that kind of live.
But live. Let's bring.
But she is in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the sit down,
Jinny Wong. Hello.
Hello. So happy to be here.
Welcome. Thanks for joining. It's so wild. So literally, Scott and I were like, I was like, oh, this is the first time I met her in person. And he's like, have I met her?
Yeah, I'm like, I think this is the first time I met her in person, too. And then you came out of the washroom and you were like, it's so nice to meet you in person. I was like,
yeah, well, I went to the washroom and I was just like, wait a minute. I was like, I just like,
you just walked
slid in here like, we're just old pals. But I was like, no, this is the first time we've ever met in person.
You know, this is probably the first age that humans have ever lived in where you can actually forget whether you've met someone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because with online Zoom calls and how so many people are just working online and you can work with somebody for years, or in our case, we've done episodes of this show, talk to each other for several hours at this point.
Yes.
And you just feel like you almost take for granted oh, well, yeah, of course I've met that person.
Yeah.
Right.
But well, it's nice to meet you.
Yes.
Is this really only your third episode?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the first one you weren't on you came on
with Michael.
for The Only Asian, right?
Yeah.
And then you came on once on your own.
Yes.
And now we're
Really?
here.
You only came on? I feel like you've been. Oh.
I guess Regine just feels like she knows you.
I feel like it's all because
I've
of
just
social
left
media.
a lingering
Yeah.
presence over Zoom.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I was in Disney in December, I thought of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, check out her other episodes after this.
There you go. Did you see it? Was there a Mulan there when you were there?
No, I was looking for Mulan, but when I went, a lot of the characters weren't out yet because it was December, and I guess pre-pandemic or post-pandemic precautions.
Oh.
Not all the princesses were out, but I did line up for every single character that I could find.
Oh, interesting. So they maybe the ones that come out first are the ones who are wearing full
No.
Oh, they had regular. So then how do they? I guess.
But also, Mulan is not where I was. Mulan is in Epcot. I did not go to Epcot.
Okay, well.
Mulan is
Fair
also
enough.
in studio too.
Yeah. There's a whole system that they have.
This is how they get you to go to different parks.
To meet the different people.
If you really want to meet Moana, you have to go where Moana is. If you really want to meet I don't know if you can meet Tarzan. Peter Pan, you got to go where Peter Pan is.
Do they only have one of each? Do we know this?
Of course. Of course. They only have the one Peter Pan.
Oh yeah, you know what? That would make sense because you know what you would have. You'd end up with kids. You'd end up with kids being like, "That's not." Yeah, I met.
Can I just say that's actually really true? But I was not a kid. I was maybe 20, and my family did a whole Disney trip, and I had lined up to meet every character that I could, and then the parade happened, and I was like, "That's not Jasmine."
It's pixie dust. It's pixie dust. They get show parade ready.
Exactly. It's a whole different vibe.
Yeah, kids notice these things.
So do 20-year-olds. I was like, "That's not the same Jasmine I took a picture with 10 minutes ago."
It's a fraud, Regine.
Honestly.
When my brother was a kid for his birthday party, we got the white Power Ranger to come.
Oh,
Tommy?
Okay.
Tommy, yeah, good. Were you a Power Ranger fan?
Of course I was.
Okay, nice. Yeah, Tommy.
But Tommy's been, because he was the white, he was green first, and then he became white.
He became white, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember there was one kid at the party who was like grilling this guy on like all of the details to like see. You're not really telling me? Didn't even ask like all these things about like, oh yeah, who's I don't know, like, who's your girlfriend and like blah 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 all this stuff, and he's like Kimberly. He knew his stuff. He knew everything.
Right.
But
because
he did his research.
He knew everything because he was the real Tommy.
Of course.
Definitely.
Rest in
100%.
peace, Tommy.
But that always reminds me of the Simu Liu, how he was saying how he was Spider-Man, and people would be like, "You're not the real Spider-Man." And you're just like, "I'm just trying to make a buck, man. Just trying to get by, kid."
It's just so crazy how he blew up. So, like, he was on Kim's Convenience, and no one really knew who he was. And then all of a sudden, he becomes this superhero, and
and now
the
he's
world's
everywhere.
his oyster.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, this industry, because you have stories like that where it was like there was sort of a progression there, right? But then you have the Aladdin that was cast, the Canadian.
He got nothing.
And then he got nothing. And it wasn't like he did a bad job. Like, it was a great movie. Big box office hit, and like nothing. And you're like, what?
Now he's hosting a vegan show on CTV.
Really?
Right. And I think he has like his whole, like, he has like a line of vegan foods or something like that too. So he's made, his own little progress, but it's just like you expect something different. And
you expect that the person's going to keep, they got this and now they're going to be this and this.
Yeah.
Well, like I remember didn't they say that remember there was the movie The Artist, that the black and white silent film that won Oscars that year? Do you remember that?
Oh, I vaguely remember.
Well, like he was like the main guy, right? He was like everywhere for that one time when that movie won all the Oscars. And then I remember the following year, there was like a comedian making jokes being like, "Hey, yeah, you guys remember the guy from The Artist? He's everywhere now." And like everyone laughed because he was nowhere. Like he was nowhere.
Oh, man.
So,
it's humbling. It's real humbling.
Yeah.
I mean, you're both actors, so maybe one day we'll see you on the big screen. I mean, we are watching you on the big screen at this moment.
I'm there already.
Maybe you'll have your breakthrough.
Actually, wait.
In Coburg.
I'm not in this film. Actually, did you know that? I'm not in this movie.
Oh, true. You're just a director.
I just directed it.
You're just a director.
I'm just,
just a director.
I just...
You didn't sneak yourself in there like a cameo?
You actually...
No spoilers!
It's not a spoiler, but like my voice is there.
Your voice is everywhere.
Well, yeah. Well, because obviously, like, I edited the movie too, right? So like, obviously if I need like something happens off screen or like it's going to be me doing it. So
now I know.
Right.
I'm in there.
That scream in the background is actually Scott.
Yes.
But we were on Dancing Through the Shadows, and you were on the big screen.
I was on the big screen.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Dancing with the Stars, and I'm like, oh.
That's next. That's next.
That's next.
Dancing with the Stars. I don't think I would do very well on... I'm not a very good...
I've seen you line dance, maybe.
Can you dance? Are you a good dancer?
No, I will move myself up to just under mover. Like I wouldn't even call myself a mover at this point.
It's a beginner.
When I was on the cruise ship, I would call myself a mover. But it's been a minute.
Would you do Dancing with the Stars if they called you?
Yes, at this point, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not that picky right now.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm pretty much, you want me to, I'm trying to think what's something that,
Do a merengue?
you want me to be the guy who's dressed like a palm tree in the background of Dancing with the Stars? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it.
You want to be the featured audience member that claps really loud, that gets real or gets emotional because it's for some reason it's the dance.
It just like touches your soul.
Yeah, I do it. Yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, so what's my
motivation?
Yeah. So yes, I would do it. I don't know. I mean, okay. I sing and perform music, so I can keep a beat.
You would be in the band.
Yeah, it's saying I don't know if I can do my. The thing is, I've never really had to do it. Where you do like I did the musical in my high school, but I was able to learn steps. But I don't know if you would call me I don't think I could actually.
Yeah, but I mean that's what they want though. They don't want somebody that's already good. You would be paired up with
a pro.
The pro, and then
You are the
they
star,
would see
not
your
the
trend.
pro.
Yeah. Like,
I see.
yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, I see. Oh, dancing.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got it. The dancer.
You would be the star.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be the dancer.
And then I would be so good.
Yeah.
And then the dancer would be like, "Whoa, you know what? You're actually teaching me something." And I was like,
Actually-
"Yeah." And then they'll be like, "You need to be one of the dancers to dance with a star." And I'd be like,
could
"If
go
you
on
guys
tour
say
with
so."
them.
If you
if
you
you
know?
say. But
then I'll be everywhere.
there are professional dancers that do go on Dancing with the Stars as stars, like JoJo Siwa. She was on Dance Moms,
Right.
and now she was
okay.
on.
but like different kind of dance.
Yeah.
And
But
wasn't
they still have
what's the guy who played Carlton? He's a really good dancer.
He won.
Oh, he did. I've never watched a season of Dancing with the Stars, but I just remember he was on it, and I
Right.
thought that makes sense because
Like,
he can really dance. He can. He can.
He did do the Carlton on Alfonso. He did do the Carlton on Dancing
Alfonso.
with
That's
the
his name.
Stars.
See, it's that type of thing, right? I mean, he's Carlton, and that's it.
Yeah.
Has he ever been in anything else? Probably,
Dancing with the
Yeah.
Stars.
right? I mean,
Stars,
Dancing with the Stars,
yeah.
but nobody knows his real name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like he never really, since then, been able to break out of that, right? It's just
Yeah.
like just a strange industry.
I think it's very because the thing is, it's an industry that encourages typecasting, right? Like you become known for a thing, and then people want you in that thing.
Hence the only Asian becoming a thing.
Well, yeah,
Right.
I guess so. But it's even just like once you get known as like, oh, I'm the comedy guy, right? I remember like the guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite. He had that
yes.
same situation, right? He was this Napoleon Dynamite who blew up, and then he was in like a bunch of movies where they cast him as that sort of kind of awkward,
That's true.
Right.
and he did like a couple, but they weren't as good as Napoleon Dynamite. And then I'm not sure really where he ended up after that. And I think as an actor, you want to like, I can actually.
You want to be
I
versatile.
can actually do this,
Right.
but.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, everybody goes through that, right? Like Matthew McConaughey, his most famous example, I would say, where and the funny thing is, though, he didn't start out as a rom-com guy. Like his main thing, because I recently just read his Green Lights. So he started out with The Time to Kill, which I completely forgot that he was in. But that was his first breakout role. He said that before that, he could walk around the street and nobody would know who he was. And then right after A Time to Kill, that's when people started recognizing him. And in that, he was a lawyer, like he was hard-hitting drama, right? It was a whole thing. Then he became this rom-com guy.
Yeah.
I love him in rom-com though.
I mean, yes. I mean, we see the appeal. But then, he had to make a decision. He's like, either I keep doing this and this is all I'll ever be, or I have to put a stop to it. And of course, he had a lot of money
Yeah.
to sit on and like slowly peel away at. But, he didn't get offers. I think it was like a few years until finally Dallas Buyers Club. And he basically took a risk with that because there wasn't a lot of money, like they were under budget, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And over budget. But they just did it, and then that's what won
Nice.
him.
And now he's the star of my I was thinking about it the other day
Your
because I
heart?
just watched it. No, oh, yeah, well, obviously that as well, yeah. But he had me from all right.
All right.
But no, he's the star of my. This is I think it is my favorite movie. Is Interstellar. It's my favorite movie.
Interstellar.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he's amazing in that movie.
I do watch a lot of rom-coms, so I do like him in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes.
10 Dates?
10 days.
Oh yeah.
And Wedding Planner.
That's the one with You're So Vain, right? When they sing the You're So Vain scene. Yeah, that's a funny movie.
Yeah.
And he's a cool guy too. I've watched interviews with him now, and yeah, he's just like.
Oh, and he was in Sing.
Is that the?
He was a
computer?
koala.
Oh, he was the koala?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
rewatched it. I was randomly rewatching movies. Monday, I think, is when I was watching it.
See, he's so versatile now. You didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. Yeah.
He looked totally different in that movie.
Oh, totally.
Unrecognizable.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you?
How long has it been?
Talking about Matthew McConaughey. I'm doing well. I had a really busy April. That was a lot of fun. I got to go to Cannes and attend Cannes series with Streams Flow from a River, which was amazing. That's a series that, was one of those low budget things that you just you say yes to because you're passionate about the project itself, and you have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't even think the director and creator Christopher Yip knew. And he's told the story a few times, but like when the executive producer Shant Joshi called him up and was like, "Hey, you got into Cannes." He was like, "No way." He's like, "What are you talking about? Like this isn't real." And being able to be there with Chris and just enjoying that. And then of course, we got into the Canadian Film Festival before that, and then we were at the Vancouver Asian Film Festival before that in Vancouver.
Wow.
Leading up to Cannes, and even in between, he went to London for Fish Boy. It was just such a amazing time to be there. It was a real dream come true.
It's awesome.
And it was a big lesson. Like what I was telling my students when I came back was, there was about 20 of us that went, and about 10, like about half of us were the cast that were able to go. We were all in different points of our career. Some people, like, this was one of their very first bookings.
Wow.
And some of us have been doing it, like the two leads, Jane and Simon, they have been in the industry acting for 30, 40 years. Like, they have a lot of IMDb credits. And then I'm sort of like middle of the road, and we're here, and it's just like, it's our first time here.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Arriving at this moment, and it's just like, you don't know what project is going to take you there. You don't know what, at what stage in your life, and you don't know when the next time it's going to happen. Same sort of thing. Like, you can win an Oscar, but then just like disappear.
Yeah.
So it's just like enjoying the moment, appreciating the moment when you are there. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
That's so exciting.
Cannes is super. Like I know all the festivals, they're all very, but Cannes is especially known for being very, very like black tie, very, very.
So that's the Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
So because this was a series, they actually, only 6 years ago, they decided that they wanted to celebrate series.
Nice.
So this was just the 6th season.
I see.
And it's very different vibe. So
Not
instead of a red
that
carpet, they had the hot pink carpet.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, but it is still in the same venue, the Grand Lumiere. And it's just a little bit more casual. Like, you see people, you can wear running shoes with your suits, you can wear gowns if you want to, or you can wear, t-shirts and jeans, and it was varied. But yes, the Cannes Film Festival is very different, where it's very traditional. It's been around for many years, many decades. So they have their own sort of vibe for their films.
We love a hot pink carpet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes sense because, like, in the last, it's really, I guess, the last 6 years roughly, is that when, like, series, they've kind of, like, the line between a film and a TV series, let's say, has really been blurred in the last few years, right? So a lot of the series now that come out, I mean, they're basically just long movies in a lot of ways.
Right.
Whereas it used to be, okay, that's just a TV show, but now it's like, no, like, you should do this show because it's bigger, so
well, and that's affected the industry a lot. I was listening to a casting director talk about it, and how before it was like, you would have your TV stars and it would be separate.
Yeah.
And then you would have your film stars. But then they started getting film stars to go into TV shows.
Yeah.
And then it kind of pushed the TV stars down so it affects the whole sort of pecking order. So then now you've got these huge stars that are gonna be in this TV show. So now the TV stars that would normally be the leads, now they're bumped down to like a supporting role.
I see, yeah.
And then any of the other little guys that might have been able to do some of the supporting roles, everybody gets pushed down.
Yeah.
So there's sort of less opportunities for some of the newer actors to break in, even in TV.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you're even seeing, that's why now you're seeing, like, before you would never see like an A-list movie star doing a TV show now, but now it's like, well, it's quite common. And so it's an entire,
especially now with the streamers. I think the streamers have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, they've changed a lot of things, and that's why there's the strike.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Affecting things.
Well, it's crazy because the I guess the main thing behind the strike, right, is that they've been, basically the studios have been making all this money off of these streaming services, but they don't deal out like royalties and residuals the same way they would for broadcast TV. And I didn't even realize that was a thing. Like, I thought, no, like, why wouldn't you should be getting a part of, as long as the studio is making money off the show,
right?
Everybody involved should be getting their residuals. That's just logical to me, but apparently it's not. So that was actually news to me. I didn't realize that. But they gotta. That just seems like a no-brainer to me, especially because I think maybe there was a stretch where people didn't take the streaming services as seriously. Like, like people were even saying that. Remember, there was that weird, awkward time where it was like, there was like controversy whether or not like an Apple TV show should even be eligible for like awards and stuff.
Emmys and stuff. Yeah.
But suddenly they're like, well, no, because now basically most of the best stuff is now on the streaming services, and broadcast TV has kind of been going down.
No one really has cable anymore.
Yeah. So
nobody really has cable, and like nobody can really say like, oh, what's on Peacock? What's NBC's like latest thing, right?
I feel like it's only talk shows now.
Talk shows,
sports, game shows, sports.
Reality TV.
Yeah.
That's why we still have cable at home. But a lot of reality TV is going to Netflix, Paramount.
Yeah. My girlfriend watches quite a bit of it on there, and
then you tell me to watch it, and then I watch
well.
it. So there we go. I think in our household combined, we have basic cable, but we also have Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Paramount. Am I missing one?
I mean, you're definitely
we do
missing.
have Crave.
Yeah.
We have Crave.
You're definitely missing, like, there's so many.
It's
like,
so crazy.
There are many that we haven't even heard of.
And then you think about it, we're like, oh, we're going to get all these subscriptions so we don't have to pay for cable. But
it's like,
it's more expensive when you think about it.
Yeah.
Especially Netflix.
Yeah. They just slowly keep increasing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's the oldest one. It's the one that I do
pioneer.
End up watching the most often.
Yeah, I think I'm roughly. I find I'm now back and forth between Netflix and Disney Plus, but
Crave is a newer one.
Yeah.
That I just got into, and they do have some pretty good things.
Yeah.
I'm on Crave because of Drag Race. That is the only thing I watch on Crave.
Makes sense.
I just started Succession.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's good.
I've heard.
Yeah, like season 1, first episode. Because I was talking to somebody else, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Succession," and I was like, "Yeah, I just started on the first one." And he's like, "You mean like first one on season 4. And I was like, no, like the first. And he got really excited.
Because he knew you were about he's probably all excited about what you're about to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's how excited, that's how
reach
passionate
out to me when you're caught up
about the show. But I tend to watch, like, I'll have different moods. What I'm really sort of sad about is the last episode of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Never watched
I
it.
never watched that.
Oh, it's so good. It's on Prime. And there was 5 seasons. But another thing that I'm not crazy about is how long the breaks are in between. Sometimes, but I guess when it is streamer, you can always go back and watch it. But I'm not one of those people.
Yeah,
I would never go back and just start a series all over again.
Yeah, I've never. In fact, I rarely watch. It's rare that I'll watch anything again. There's only a handful of movies that I will go back, but it's also because there's always new stuff coming out.
True.
Yeah, there's so much new content. Like, I don't have time to rewatch.
I mean, I just rewatch Sing. I just rewatched Shrek last night for the 100th time.
Yes.
But it's a good movie.
I did watch Interstellar the other day.
How many times have you watched it though?
In my life, I would say maybe like 10 times. I've watched it. Of all the movies that I think in recent, like, adulthood, that's probably one of the only ones that I've put on fairly somewhat regularly, just because I love it so much.
When it was before streamers, when we would buy physical DVDs, I would rewatch movies, like favorites.
Oh yeah.
Like what?
So Meet the Fockers is
that's
one
a
of
good
them.
one.
Old School, Step Brothers, like mainly comedies. I feel like I get really emotionally involved in dramas.
Got it.
Really emotionally involved, where it's just like draining. I'm one of those people. So like even like This Is Us, like I couldn't rewatch it again because it's just like so emotionally draining.
My mom's
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend was like that too when we were watching Handmaid's Tale. We watched the first season, and I'm like, we got to watch more. And she was like, I can't. She's like, I like it, but it's like, it's so
Depressing.
Sad. Yeah. So
and it's like scary, right? And you're just like,
I didn't watch
there's
it.
so many things as a woman, you see the parallel, and you're just like, oh my God.
I think that's why I can't. Like, I remember I watched a few episodes because we had Nina on the
Kiri
show,
on, yeah.
and then after I'm like, I can't watch this. I like to just be in my own reality TV bubble.
Yeah, I mean, that's why usually I watch comedies because, but then you get those magical comedies that make you laugh. Like in 30 minutes, it will make me laugh and cry. Never Have I Ever is one of those.
I've heard good things about that show.
It's like, I mean, it's about teenagers, but I just so many things. Like I will literally laugh and cry in the same episode. My husband's just like, what is happening here?
That's when you know it's a good show.
It's amazing. I think that's one of my favorite shows of all time.
I find, I don't know, maybe this just happens when as people just, as you get older, but I do find like I cry more often watching stuff than I ever used to.
Me too. I don't.
you find
I'm
that
not.
too?
I'm not a crier. I mean, I do cry a lot, but only when I'm upset. I don't cry like my mom, if there's a commercial on, she starts crying, and I'd be like, what's wrong with you?
I'm not there yet.
But then recently I was watching the latest, not Drag Race, the latest season of Queer Eye, and that got me, and then I was like,
Yeah, some of that got me.
and then I started watching Queer Eye Germany and Brazil, and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
There's a couple things that will get me, and it's usually when men cry on screen. You
watch Queer Eye?
I've watched some of it.
I didn't know that.
Like this, well, again, my girlfriend likes to like she's much more. So I haven't seen
I feel
every
like we
episode.
watch very similar things.
Well, because what it is, yeah. So my girlfriend would put it on, and then like I'll come into the room, and then I'll watch
And then
with
you're
her. Like I'll sit down and I watch with her.
Right.
But then like obviously like when I'm not there, she's still watching. So like there's always like I'm missing middle episodes and stuff.
Right.
But I've seen there was an episode of Queer Eye. The one, in fact, the first episode, it's they go to the frat house.
Yeah.
And there's a scene.
That got me.
They're all sitting around the fire.
Do
right?
you watch Queer Eye?
I don't.
Oh, well-
I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen some like very early episodes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because they have, they fix the people's style and they fix their
They
house.
help them.
But there's the other part of it, Karamo, who's like,
Oh, he gets
he's
me
in charge of
every
culture,
time.
right? But really what his job basically is he usually actually talks to the person. Because usually if you're a person...
He's like a therapist.
Well, because like the person who's like, they stay in their shell and they don't dress nice and all this stuff, there's usually like something else going on. Right? Like they've had some experience or something.
He gets down
to it. And so with these kids, he was talking to them just like, asking, these are like college kids, because it was a frat house. And he was just asking the one kid, hey, he's like, what do you guys talk about? What it is to be a man?
If you are watching Queer Eye, please like
the spoiler alert.
I mean, I think you'll still get a lot of it. But the point is, like, they just had this moment where like the one kid just starts talking about how like he's having a hard time with school, and also like he's been having to take the bus, but he finally bought a car, and then he like crashed it the next day, and then he's dealing with a whole bunch of others, like just a whole bunch of emotional stuff, right? And he suddenly just started to like tear up, and all of his friends sitting around him like,
why didn't you tell us, bro?
Yeah, because they were like, every time we see him, he's always smiling, and he said he didn't feel like he wanted to put his problems on other people, and like all the guys started saying we are the same thing, and like I started feeling that.
You felt it?
Yeah, and I was
because Karamo's really like that whole session was more like, as men, society tells you cannot feel this way, you can't act this way, you can't cry, but it's okay to cry. And then all of them were like around a campfire, and they all just started crying.
It was just
I was crying.
Anyway, it's good.
I could cry now. Like this is how easy it is to make me cry.
This is why you're a great actor. My mom was because I can't cry. Mom was like, this is why you can't act. I'm like, no, I can't.
But empathy, that's like the actor superpower, right?
Yep.
And I think it's just like as you get older, you experience different things. So like, I mean, I definitely feel like I cry a lot easier now, like since I've had kids. I just feel like there's more experiences, like things that you didn't think would ever upset you now do.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think as you go through life, I think it will become just different triggers, I guess.
Makes sense. Yeah, because you experience more. I've actually noticed that when like if I watch a movie that like I used to love as a kid, but suddenly you start to see, if it's a good movie, I should say, you start to recognize like as a kid I didn't realize the perspective of like the teacher or like the perspective of this guy, but suddenly I'm like, and then I just watch movies that I used to love, and I see them in a completely different way because I'm recognizing a character's reaction where, maybe as a kid I thought, that's just a mean guy, that guy's mean. But as a kid, as an adult, you go, oh wait, no, that guy's actually probably going through something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you didn't really realize as a
the depth of the characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But speaking of depths of characters, we know through your social media that you've been, what was the thing that you were talking about earlier? You were casted recently.
Yeah, you were just tell us about
Trickle and Flow.
Yes, tell us about that.
Yeah, so it is it's planning on shooting in the fall. So production hasn't started yet. It's funny. So the power of social media. So my friend Jen. And I call her my friend, but again, I've never met her. We met over Instagram, and that's the thing, like years ago, and we worked on this thing virtually during COVID, and it was like this virtual chick fight thing. And since then, of course, we've just stayed in touch, and she's just like this busybody, and she like has this baking company that she does, and then she started writing, and she started this production company. So I think this is her first big project.
Love that.
So she wrote this episode, or the series. I think there's 7 episodes that she's written, but it's always being workshopped and stuff. And some other person on Instagram who I have also never met actually sent me a casting call from Trickle and Flow and was like, hey, I saw this and I instantly thought of you. I just feel like this would really match you as an actor, as a character. And I was like, it really would. I was like, thank you so much. And I was like, oh, Trickle and Flow, like I know about this. And I was like, Jen, like I actually know her, I'm gonna reach out. So I reached out to her. She was like, we got onto the phone, we talked about some things, and she was like, go submit. I'm really confident, like I've seen your stuff, I'm really confident, I'm gonna definitely recommend you, like just send me what you got. So I did a self-tape, yeah, and then I booked it. So that was really exciting. But that also, kind of we've heard so much about networking and how important it is as an actor to maintain those friendships and relationships and stuff like that. And it's kind of foreign, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm definitely one of those people when you talk about networking and like, you think of business cards and you think of like, it's like, oh, it's kind of icky. But more and more I'm learning that it doesn't have to be icky. It's not about being icky. It's about having genuine relationships with someone and building trust over time, because you're talking about something completely different. And then because we're all creatives and we're always doing different things, you don't know when something's going to happen where it's like, oh, wait a minute. Actually, I think maybe I could be right for this.
I'll say this show is based off created through networking.
Literally was. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started hosting the show because somebody we know, Jennifer C., who was starting the show, she needed hosts, and she knew us through other events, and like we didn't even really know each other very well.
We knew each other, but not really
like you
know
knew
each other.
of each other.
Yeah,
like social media friends, but didn't really pay attention.
So we had been, and then we got, and then here we are 4 years later. It's weird, right?
I know.
So that's the thing. It's not networking is just, you just
never know
meet
where it's
people.
gonna
You
take
never know
you.
where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are.
Yeah. Here we are. Is it weird not talking to us through a camera?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we've slid into this pretty easily.
I mean, you walked in and we're like, hey, nice to see you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you first arrived at the house, I think I thought we had met already in person. Like I
thought you would have met through like a networking event or something.
Well, you know what? Okay, so Dancing Through the Shadows, we were in the same theater at the same time, but we didn't know. We didn't know, and so we were around.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's like us. We've done fashion shows together, not realizing who each other was. We were in group pictures together.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But never like.
Well, because especially for Dancing Through the Shadow, because that was still kind of COVID times,
right?
So if I'm pretty sure I was probably wearing a mask. Maybe we all were. I don't remember at that point.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I feel like
where
we were. It was still masking times, and then I remember the seats. They were like clearly like designated. You couldn't sit like.
Yeah. So it was.
It was weird.
It was a sucky time.
Got it.
You know what? I don't know about you. I didn't like this COVID stuff. I don't know. Call me crazy.
You know what though?
Call me crazy.
I will say, a lot of bad things happened. Unnecessarily bad things happened, I would say, in retrospect. But I don't know. For me, it kind of worked out. Like self-tapes. The fact that I was laid off from my job so that I was able to act full-time, sort of with still that safety net, kind of propelled my career forward. And I
actually kind of agree with you in that, like, all of the horrible stuff aside, I was able to, like, for a lot of the things that I was able to do, and even for this show, and for just stuff that maybe stuff that it forced us to do, technology wise, and like,
I learned how to be more creative.
Yeah, there was just, I guess what it is, we made the best of a bad situation.
Right. I mean, we would have never met, probably.
True.
That's true.
Right. Because, that's one of the reasons why Michael started writing, because he was like, oh.
Yeah.
But, you and Michael have intersected a lot through your careers. I feel like we would have eventually.
Yeah,
somehow.
It's kind of funny because we met for the first time in 2019 at a workshop. And then COVID hit. And then everything else, like, we didn't really see each other, but we made an effort to like touch base. We went out for coffee and stuff like that. And then we ended up being cast together, but there are many times where we were sort of actually pegged against each other, like the only Asian, despite the fact that he is a man and I am a woman. It's just funny how the industry works behind the scenes, and you really just don't know. Like, sometimes we're just like, oh, what do they want? Like, they don't even know what they want.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's just weird. You kind of almost just have to let that stuff. You just get used to it. Like, I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna do my thing. You just make a choice, and I find if I think about it too much, I just go crazy thinking about it. I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah.
Here's what I got. Here's what I got. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, and it's funny because you'll work with some coaches that are just like, you know what, there's just something special about a self-tape where you don't care. That actually ends up like booking it for you. And you're just like, what, that one? Well, what about the one I spent like a week working on?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're trying too hard. There really isn't a formula. You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I still remember when I got on Designated Survivor. My self-tape, and it wasn't a self-tape, this was pre-pandemic. I remember it was at one of them, doesn't matter where it was.
Right.
But I remember I was running late because the traffic was really bad, and I kind of drove there. So normally, I try to get there nice and early, and I sit in the thing, and I going over my lines, right?
Yeah.
But I was just running late, got there within like a minute, I walk in, I took off my jacket, they're like, oh, we're ready for you. I walked in, I just like did the line. They're like, okay, thank you. Boom. And it was so like...
Where you're like, oh.
Yeah, like I just did it. And I didn't even have time to even think about it because I was just rushed. And I barely had time to even practice. It was just, went in, did it. They went, thank you. And then they called me the next week. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
And you probably thought, oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
They didn't give me any redirects. It was so quick.
Yes.
Why did I just spend an hour in traffic coming here?
Yep.
What a waste of time. And then boom, you book it and you're like, what?
Right.
Yeah. And that's another thing about COVID. Like, I hope for the first round, at least, it never goes back to in person.
yeah, I think it won't. I agree.
Because it really limits your chances, right? It takes you an hour to fight through traffic to go to one. If you have two on the same, you have to pick and choose. And you don't know which one.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you're just like, you try to strategize. You're like, okay, well, this is the bigger role, but my chances of booking the smaller role are probably better.
Yep. And
Or you're like, oh, I don't really want to do the smaller role.
Yeah, and it's even worse. Like, I live downtown, so at least they're kind of like all the casting places are kind of in range. But like, never mind if you're somebody who lives like just out of the city or anything. Like, I've talked to actors who like, if they have an audition in the city, that's their day. Like, it's not even like, oh, I got to jump out for lunch or whatever. Like, they have to plan their entire day around. So yeah, the self tapes. I mean, I can shoot it at 3 a.m.
Yes.
So
3 a.m. and whenever, or like just, I've got like an hour. Let's bang this, SOC out, right? Like this commercial.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
You can do 4 in a row. Like I rarely have had to decline.
Wow.
Anything.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a decline, and I've always found, even when I was like, that's the other thing. If you could be traveling, like I've done self tapes when I'm on vacation. I was in Europe, and I like pull out the iPad, do it in the hotel room, and like, it feels cool when you do that. Actually, it's like it's
you're just
neat.
like, yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, that was my agent. I gotta go.
I gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is very convenient. It is convenient.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should do the ad break.
I know, she said commercial. I was like, oh.
Commercial time.
We should do our
Speaking
commercial.
of commercials, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of The Sit Down is brought to you by some very important people. They are our advertisers.
Yes, they are.
And they make the show possible, and we're very grateful to them. So let's meet them, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, the Toronto real estate market is growing and changing every day. Mm-hmm. In these challenging times, you need someone in your corner. Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, is committed to looking out for you. She'll go the extra mile to ensure you have all the information you need to make a decision you can feel confident about. Purchasing a home is one of the biggest financial investments you'll make in life. Don't leave it to chance. Call Jeanette McKenzie at Forest Hill Signature. She's my realtor. That's right, the place I'm living in now. She helped me find it, and the one previous, actually. She's fantastic to work with. She gives you all the information. Really, highly recommend. She's my realtor, and she could be yours. Call today at 416-523-0408 or email at JMckenziehomes at gmail.com. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham, they do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and change watch batteries, all done on site. Jerry at Jewelry Forever is a fantastic artist. Do you have a vision for something custom you'd like made? He's the man to make it for you. Or did your jewelry get damaged? Did your ring get run over by a car? He will restore it back to its beautiful former glory. And we have a great deal worked out with them, don't we, Regine?
Yes, we do. If you go into the store and let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right, 15% off, 15%. Mention the show. Tell them Scott and Regine sent you. And get yourself a great deal. Find out more at jewelryforever.ca. Also follow them on Instagram and TikTok for some cool behind-the-scenes videos.
Yeah, and Father's Day is surprisingly just around the corner. I feel like we were just talking about Mother's Day, so make sure you get your dad something good.
Just in time, jewelryforever.ca. Beautified by Romina.
Internationally trained hair and makeup artist. She is the official makeup artist of the Sit Down. As you see, she did our hair and makeup. Yes, Scott got makeup on for our photos.
Yes,
but she also does everything from engagements to weddings, pageants, corporate shots, anything really. Date nights, if you need her, she's there for you.
Anything and everything. Are you about to go on stage for a live event? But you just came back from a sunny place, and even though you put on sunscreen, your nose got really burned for some reason. She'll make you look not like a clown. You'll look like a person.
Exactly. Check her out on Instagram and Facebook, Beautified by Romina.
That's right. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's very easy, right, Regine?
It's simple. All you guys have to do is email us at radioshowad, that's radioshowad@gmail.com.
That's right. We did the show live every week, people. Well, not this week, but we're recording it live. Okay, it's close enough. Okay, we do it live, and we also do the ads live week to week. What does that mean? It means you can personalize them week to week. Do you have an event, a sale, something happening at a particular time, particular place? You let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's a great way to build a brand new relationship with a brand new audience. Get in touch. Radio Show Ad, radioshowad@gmail.com. And we're back.
We're back.
Beautiful. That was beautifully done.
Thank you. You know what?
It's real artistry there.
That's what we do.
When we say we do these ads live, folks, Scott literally says everything live, and you should see him trying to catch his breath at the end of it.
It's good. It's good vocal training. Good vocal training.
Is.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of vocal training, I did want to talk a little about it because I did it for something for the first time that I've never done before.
What?
So I had an audition for a role. I won't say what the role was. I don't think you're supposed to do that. But I did it for a role, and it was like it was the biggest thing that's come along in a while. It was like a lead in like a thingy.
Ooh,
okay.
Okay. And so my agent was like, "Hey, why don't you, for this one, it's a pretty big one, why don't you book like a coaching session with like a thing?"
Okay.
So are you asking Jinny for help, or?
No, I did it already.
Oh, okay.
Although that would have made sense. But
I was like, hang on.
But no, she my agent had mentioned there's a couple different studios. Like there's studios that do it, and I had never done this before, right? So, but I found it really so basically you book a session with a coach, and some places they actually shoot the self-tape for you, others don't. This one that I went to did. So you go there, you work with a coach, you run the scene, you get comfortable with it, and then that person is also your reader, and then they shoot the self-tape with you and everything. I had never done that experience, but especially coming out of self-tapes for like the last 3, however long it's been, it was like a totally, I don't know, completely different
Was it refreshing?
experience. It was. I really think I benefited from it. I think the self-tape looked good, but it was just, anyway, I know you've got experience on one, doing lots of self-tapes and stuff, but also coaching. So what are your thoughts on that stuff?
I think sometimes we just need somebody else because we're in this vacuum already. So sometimes you just need somebody else to bounce ideas off of. And yeah, I too recently went to a self-tape studio for a role that was it was a recurring role on a new series. And sometimes you just need like a really good reader.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes you can get somebody who's not so great. And I don't want to coach a reader. I want you to just like know what to say and do it, So yeah, I do like to go live in person sometimes, and I'll hit up different studios depending on what it is. I had another one where my agent was like, "This is a biggie. Let's not mess around." go to like a reputable, and I was like, you know, she had opinions about who I should go to.
Got it.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. You know, and it's funny because I don't think I've ever, because throughout the years I've gone to these self-tape studios, I don't think I've ever booked through a self-tape studio. I always love my self-tapes. They're always good, and they're all like different people, different, you know, experiences.
Yeah.
I've never booked through them. I usually always book when I'm like at home by myself, but that's also like a numbers thing, right? Because I do majority of them by myself.
Yep.
But I do find, like, even when I'm coaching other people and I'm still doing the online type where I will still be your reader, but it will be online, and you would set up your camera and you tape it yourself. I find that, you know, you just have different ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we think, oh, there's only one way to do this. Like, there's nobody that's going to do it any other different. And then when you're in that situation, you're just like, oh, yes, that's one way to do it. How about try it like this? And they're just like, what? I didn't think about it. And it's the same thing for me. Like, sometimes I will also experience that where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it like this. And then the coach will be like, okay, well, why don't you try it like this? And you're like, oh, that does change things. Especially when sometimes you want to do 2 takes.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck on is it different enough?
Yeah.
To make it worthwhile to send, where, you know, casting director's not going to get mad at you for sending 2 of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I found it was, again, I don't know if I'm going to get this. It was pretty recently, so like I haven't heard anything, but with TV stuff, it could be any amount of time, especially with the writer's strike. Who knows when stuff's coming back? I don't even know.
I know. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, they're auditioning, they're holding off on casting until production you know, because I know a lot of productions have shifted. And yeah, they're just being proactive.
Yeah, that's
but
all.
like,
That's
you
all.
know,
Keeping busy.
well, especially because if they want the writers to have a say,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Well, actually, I mean, and that's actually, I think it might even be a thing that there are some that are just almost out of solidarity. They're almost refusing to like, no,
Right,
we
that's
can't
true.
continue. So, you know, there's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what it is. So,
yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
We booked it.
Yeah, we booked it.
Claim it.
But yeah, what I will say about my experience with it, one, like, again, because, well, like you said, it's good to have like, so often my reader is my girlfriend, and she actually does a really good job. I should say this. I think she could be a voice actor if she wanted to be. Okay, I'm going to say that. But you know, she's not an actor though in that same regard. And so going into a space where this coach is another actor, and just, yeah, like you just said, hearing feedback directly from somebody, being like, oh, you know, like it felt like such almost like a foreign thing to be doing after so many years. It was just so weird to. I thought it was really nice. Like, again, it's not something I would do all the time because, one, it costs money and it's like all that extra stuff. But I feel like it probably helped me in the sense like, oh, I might approach, even when I'm doing a self-tape at home now, you know, like it's almost like a little refresher, you know?
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like, I'll do one live and then I'll go a little bit without, and then I'll be like, you know what? It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm going to book myself into a live session and just
see what happens.
Yeah, and then, you know, just connecting with another person in the industry. I think it's important as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like I just went to this. It was like we did it because I was there for an hour, and it was just nice to just be creative with another artist it was just I liked it. I liked it.
Nice.
It's nice.
So you are a coach. So what do you do in your coaching sessions? Like, what would it look like to hire you?
So I still do it through Google Meets is the word. I was thinking Google Alerts, and I was like, that's not it. Google Meets, and we would meet. We would read through. So I take the time to. So I always ask you to send me all of your breakdown information, and I will do a little sort of recon behind the scenes before our actual session. So I'll look them up on IMDb. I'll do sort of some, you know, to figure out the tone and the genre. So I'm giving you appropriate advice. And then when we meet, we will run through the scene, and I'll kind of just see what you have prepared. And sometimes what I'll even do is if I know something, there was one where it was gonna be sort of a period piece, and I was like, just make sure that you have something periody, right? Like periody, like 1800s esque before you show up, because we have like an hour, and no need to run back and forth. Just like have this stuff available. And it depends on the level of the actor as well. Like if they are very new, then I will give them more information. Like make sure you've got this and this and this before you show up. But for the people that I've worked with before or that are a little bit more experienced, of course, I'll leave that up to them. We'll talk about sort of what their initial reactions are, because what I really try not to do is tell them how I would do it.
Yeah.
Right? I really want to give them suggestions in scenarios. So I'll be like, okay, so what if this person really hurt you? Like, is there an instance where somebody really hurt you? What happened? Oh, my best friend, she, left me at a bar by myself or whatever, right? Like whatever the scenario. And I was like, sort of tap into that. And how do you react? Because I know how I would probably react, but that doesn't mean that's how you are going to react. So I don't want you to act like me. Yep. I don't want you to act like Jinny acting in this role. I want you to, kind of own it. And so I always, that's what I try to do. Now I also coach, like I teach a class at Talent in Canada, and there's actually going to be a showcase. That's this weekend.
Oh, nice.
As we're talking right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's happening.
Oh, right.
It's happening. Wait, is it on Saturday or Sunday?
It starts today.
Oh.
I'm not there today. They're getting like their registration and stuff like that. But Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday is sort of the wrap up.
So it went great.
Up.
It went really, really great.
It went really, really well. Yeah. I am going to some networking events.
Lovely.
There, just to hang out and meet some of the other coaches that you kind of just pass by. So when it was kind of getting down to the wire, and I don't know, like acting classes, any type of classes really now are very expensive.
Yeah.
So when I see somebody sort of getting down to the wire, and it's like, whether it's your parents that have paid a lot of money or like you've paid a lot of money, I'm just like, why are you leaving this? Like there were a lot of students that didn't have their stuff memorized, didn't bring me their scenes, and I was like, you're supposed to have your scenes by now.
Yeah.
I've even like sent you suggestions, like just pick one and stick to it, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll do this one today, but I'll probably change it. I was like, why would you change it? This one's perfectly good. And it's just like and I don't know if it's like this shiny object syndrome where you can't just stick to one thing because you think something else is always going to be better, and it's just like, no, what's going to be better is you rehearsing something well enough that you're going to be able to perform, because a lot of these students, like, this is your first time you're going to be performing in front of a live audience of like 200-300 people. You're going to get nervous.
I think students, because I work with some young actors, or I guess there's really students, but young training actors or whatever, and I think it's hard to get them out of the this is just my assignment. Oh, this is my homework that I have to do. And I really, it's like, I'm like, no, this is not just like the paper your teacher made you do. I need you to. This is you as an actor. I need you need to take it. And you need to run with it. But it's hard to get them to.
I always start my like classes. I'm just like, this isn't algebra, right? Because if like you can do that for free. There's public schools, you can do that. I'm sure your parents would love to save the money and not send you here. Right? Or you, like, you've sometimes it's even the adults. I'm like, how much money did you pay out of your own pocket to be here? And you're not taking it seriously, right? Like, just use your time wisely here. So sometimes when we're getting near to the end, so our last coaching session was this Sunday, and for some of the people that didn't rehearse very much or I was just like, okay.
Oh boy.
I don't want to tell you how to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you how I would do it.
Yeah.
Because I need you to get I need something from you. I don't want to go up there and freeze. I don't want you to go up and your head's down the whole time. Or, I just want you to get the best experience possible.
You know what, though? I bet you some of those students, because that's the problem with it, is almost like you can keep telling them those sorts of things, but until they don't really realize. It's like anything. You tell a kid, when I was your age, like if I were you, you would do this, and they'll be like, yeah, right. What the heck? You don't know anything. But it's almost like the kid needs to go up there and like almost fall on their face a little bit, and then they'll be like, oh wait, that was really, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we told you weren't gonna like that. They're like, oh yeah, now that so I guess I don't know.
And I think for me, because this is my first season doing like leading up to this big showcase, I feel like there's part of me that's like just sort of, I haven't grasped that yet, where I'm just like, yeah, let it go. It's fine. And I'm like, okay, but wait, let's just try it one more time. There's a little bit of me learning as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's frustrating because it's like, it's frustrating because again, I guess we both work with kids before. It's like you see, oh wow, this kid's got a lot of potential. Oh wow, this could be really good, and you can take them all the way up to like right here. But there's a point where it's like, okay, no, now I have to stop here at the wings. You have to walk out on stage now, and now it's like there's nothing I can do. I'm telling you everything you can, but at some point they have to
just want it.
Yeah.
They've got to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And there's even some things like, for some reason, they, some of these younger kids, there was one student, and mind you, he seemed more mature, but he was like 16 or 17. And the piece that he chose was a piece from, like, it was like Jack Nicholson did it. Okay. And I was like,
all right.
Do you think you would be cast in this role?
You're saying and you're saying not young Jack Nicholson. You're saying like,
well, I mean, even young Jack Nicholson, I feel like, I guess from what I know, like the piece, he was still like probably in his 40s.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like he wasn't like 80, but like he wasn't a teenager.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was just sort of stressing like sort of this brand and typecasting. It's like, especially when you're first, you're going to the showcase to try to find an agent that's going to see where you fit in.
Yeah.
That's what they want to know. And casting too. They want to see where you fit into this industry.
Yeah.
So you're going to come out and you're going to do this like old man scene, but you're not an old man. They're going to be like, this is confusing.
Why? Yeah.
Right? Again, like, or sometimes it's like, okay, so you're doing this scene, but like it doesn't really shine you in a good light.
Yep.
Like this is like one of those roles where the person is definitely like a mean person. Is that how you want to come out? Like this is the first time people are seeing you.
Yeah.
Do you, even if it did fit you, it's like, do you want to be now like the mean person forever?
Yeah. Regina George.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah. Anyway, those are the coaching troubles that I have.
But future Jinny is so excited and so proud of all of your students.
Great.
Right?
Oh yes. But yeah, on the day of, you are just amazing.
Yes, great
100%,
job.
100%. Yes.
It is stressful though, because you do, like when you're, teaching people or showing people something, you really do sort of take ownership isn't the right word, but you're
invested.
Yeah, you're invested, exactly. So you really want it to go.
No, it's
you want it to be.
I understand it's true because like I coach pageant girls, right? And I train from Little Miss upwards, and it's the ones I love coaching the little girls, but sometimes their moms can be very overbearing. So that's a whole other layer. But then it's also the teenagers where they think they know what they're doing, and then they don't do so hot. And I'm like, I told you, if maybe you listen to me.
Yep.
That is an industry where I could be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. And then you're almost, and I said this sort of like jokingly, but I was just like, you're attaching my name. My name's going to be on your resume as your coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Don't make me look bad.
Exactly.
Right?
I think that's a good thing to say. I actually think sometimes, maybe again, especially just dealing with young people and kids, I think sometimes they need to be told, like, something, the serious truth of the situation. Like they don't, especially if they're, oftentimes maybe their teachers are never really, say the full-time teachers, they can't be straightforward with them so much, right? Right.
I'm so straightforward with the girls I coach.
Yeah, well, because I think sometimes it's almost like that's the first time they're really hearing it. Like, and we're like, look, you're not a student to me. You're not a child. I'm a director. You're an actor, and I'm trying to work with you and like,
I get that.
Get them to take ownership of it and like be like, this is your thing.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, this is optional.
Yeah.
You don't have to be here.
I don't have to be here.
And I mean, and I think the pageant industry as well. Like, this is hard.
Yep.
Like, being an actor is really hard. Like, if you just want to like dance around and go and do community theater, you can do that for free.
Yep.
You don't need to pay this money. But if you want to be a working actor, not only do you need to learn to take ownership earlier on, but you also have to understand like all the layers, and you have to take the advice and apply it where you can, because it's tough.
Yeah. In fact, I think actually going back to that workshop that I did, I think actually one of the biggest benefits I got from it, and again, I think probably something I wouldn't have appreciated if I was a kid or something, was like, this was the first, I guess, self-tape audition in a long time that I was kind of like, I had those nerves that the nerves you get when you're on your way to an in-person audition.
You want to make someone proud.
Well, it wasn't even necessary, but it was more just like, if I get a set of self-tape audition, I'm going to record at home. At no point am I nervous, because like, I know, like, okay, I'm going to set up the script. I'm going to learn okay, I'm ready to do it.
I'll
do 8,000 takes if I need to. I know that I'm going to get what I want to get out. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's actually no pressure.
Yeah.
And this was the first time where I'm like, okay, well, I got to make sure I know. Like, it's not like I can take 500 takes for this person. I know that I have this hour, and also, like, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to waste my time, waste their time. So, like, I was basically preparing as if I was going to audition for this person
in person.
And so it was the first time in, like I said, over 3 years where I actually had that feeling of like, I'm kind of nervous for this audition, which was kind of exciting.
Maybe that's what you needed.
Yeah. And sometimes I tell my students, and I try to apply the same rule, is like, either give yourself a limit on how many takes you're going to do, or the amount of time. Right? So, exactly, like if you're going to go in person, like an hour tops, but really like try to get it in, because if it's going to take you any longer, really what that means is like you haven't really prepared.
Yeah.
Which I think, because it's that lackadaisical thing where you're like, I'll just stop it halfway. If the dog barks, I might have to stop it anyway, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think giving you that little bit of time will just put a little more pep in your step. And actually, speaking of that, because I don't think I was really nervous the last time I went to do the self-tape, and I think it's because I do them intermittently anyway. But when I did the live workshop with Raven Drummer this past weekend, I was like, my hand was shaking. So we submitted our self-tape, which I was like, oh, whatever. And then we watched it live.
Oh.
There was critique with Raven, and then we got to do it live in person with a reader, with somebody else from our class.
Yeah.
And the first time round, I was like, okay, should I hold the sides? Like, and she was like, yeah, you can hold them if you want. I didn't need them in the end, but I noticed that my hand was shaking because the paper was, I was like, oh my God, what is happening here? And it worked in my scene. But then, the second time I was like, I'm going to drop the paper. Because it's like, it's, I blamed it on the paper. But it wasn't the paper, but it was just like, it's a different emotion that you get when you are in person.
Yeah, well, it's like they say what is it? What is it? Pressure? Well, I don't know. Pressure creates diamonds or whatever. But it's
Diamond
like, people work well. Like, pressure actually forces you to focus in a way that I guess. So there's definitely some benefit to it, as long as it's not overly there's a right amount of pressure you should put on somebody.
What I like about that is, like, with a self-tape, you'll just keep doing over and over again, because you're just like, oh, I missed this one word, or I don't know, I feel like I could have done like a different inflection here, or like you just criticize yourself in such a different way, versus if you're in, like, with somebody else, they'll just tell you, as you will tell yourself too, but then you'll doubt yourself. It's fine. You got it.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? At that workshop I was at, that happened is that we did a take, and like I felt great about it. I was like, I feel like we got it right, and then we watched it back, and she was like, yeah, and then I noticed, I'm like, oh wait, one of the words I said it, you know, it was supposed to be like, I don't know, whatever the line was, I said it the same words but different words but the same meaning, right?
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't, and I think if I was doing it at home, I would have done it again because I want to make sure it's the exact script they sent me. And she was just like, you got it. And I was like, yeah? She was like, yes. I was like, you feel good about the take? I'm like, I said, I feel great about the take. She's like, it's good then. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like having that was nice. Speaking of high pressure situations, we have a final segment on the show. And this is one that we have never been able to do with you because we can only do this in person.
Okay.
But
the difference between in person and virtual.
All right.
Are you familiar with this?
Yes, Barrel of Monkeys.
Excellent. So we have a segment on the show that we like to call, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of
I'm like, come on, you got this.
the Barrel of Monkeys World Championship.
Okay. I like a competition.
Here we go.
This is the real deal.
Okay.
I just like to let all the monkeys finish. So you're familiar with this game?
Yes.
When was the last time you've played it?
It was a really long time ago. Like, but I think it's the premise is pretty basic. You have a monkey and you hook the tails.
Yes. So here I will explain it how we do it for the segment, so that way you know exactly what to do.
Okay.
So the game starts. The barrel sits on the table.
Okay.
I'll say 3, 2, 1, go. There will be a minute on the clock. So I'll say 3, 2, 1, go. You grab the barrel, pour out monkeys.
Okay.
Pick up a single monkey. Use monkey to pick up another monkey. Use that monkey to pick up another monkey and another monkey.
You try to get as many in 1 minute.
As many as you can in 1 minute. Okay. And when the timer goes off, just sort of freeze, and I will
tally up
them. The monkey in your hand doesn't count towards your total.
Okay.
Also, if you end up with 2 monkeys on the same monkey like that, that only counts as one monkey. So what we're counting is links of monkeys.
Okay.
So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
She is so serious.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
What's the record right now?
I'm not telling you.
We'll tell you after.
Okay.
We like to say afterwards so that there's no pressure.
So I will hand this to you.
You can move the microphone.
Oh yeah, you can move the mic over and just find a comfortable spot. So yeah, it starts sitting on the table. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you're
getting warmed up here.
There we go. Okay. So any questions or anything before we start?
If there's like a bunch like mixed in together, can I use my other hand to disperse them or no?
That's up to you.
No, I don't think you can use your other hand. You would have to use the monkey hand in your hand. Basically, use your one monkey hand. I think.
Okay.
Use the monkey.
Yeah. I don't think that. Yeah, that's never really happened before. I think you should be okay. Okay, so hang on. Let me just get the timer going.
Me overthinking.
No worries.
Oh, you know what? You're going all in here. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
That's a nice pop.
All right.
Okay, got 1, 2.
All right.
2.
Just going for another one. Okay, there we go. That's
3,
looking
4.
good. Ooh, that's nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is the first time I noticed someone hold a monkey like that. Sorry, don't mean to distract you.
My different technique.
35 seconds remaining. Just making really good time here. Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's what happens. When
She lost the monkeys.
Oh my god, I caught it on camera.
There was still time. There's still time. Oh no.
Let's use that one.
Could she recover?
She can. How much time does she have?
18 seconds.
Okay.
You got this.
Look, she's already got 3.
You got this thing.
She's telling us to shush.
Don't panic. You got this.
Watch the monkey on the top.
Oh no!
You got this. Just don't drop anymore. Oh, that's one way. Okay, how many do you have? 1, 2, 3.
I gotta say, that was heartbreaking.
Can I just say I caught it?
Before. Oh no!
I'm not sure how many she had, but it must have been 6 or 7.
There was a lot on there, yeah.
And they all
man.
that's the first time we've ever seen that happen.
It is.
I've seen.
That's what happens when you are too trying to.
Well, that's why I was like, you're holding the monkey differently than we usually see.
Right, that was my cue to be like, oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
I'm like, you're monkeys.
Because I've seen like one monkey fall here and there. You know what I mean? Like that's happened.
Not the whole thing.
But that's the first time we've ever seen like the entire chain just bail out.
the monkeys
And
jumped
that's
off.
how you'll remember me.
There you go.
there's
Well,
actually-
if it helps, let's show her.
Yeah,
the-
so we'll show you where you finish. So let's look at the monkey standings here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not at the bottom, if that helps.
So as you can see, first place is still
Oh my God, you're tied with Michael.
Oh, of course I am.
Oh my gosh, you are.
We will forever just be the same.
Oh my God.
Wow. What are the odds of
Love
that?
that. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I can't remember how Michael's
We have to
run
rewatch
went.
it.
But okay, I'm adding you in there. There we go. So
Oh my.
Wow.
What are the chances that
and you were
Michael-
way ahead of him.
You were. So to answer your question, the most that we have is 10.
Is 10.
Okay.
That was
That's a
James,
lot.
That was James Nickel. He had an
We
amazing
haven't even
run.
been able to-
I've never hit 10. Yeah. So he's at 10.
I forgot
first
how
place.
difficult it was because it's
It's
hard
the way
to
you're holding
pick.
the monkey. You were
Well,
like,
it was working, but I think it must have
'cause you
shifted on
were
the
like
top one.
Right.
this for a while.
So then he kind of he just fell off.
And then,
then
it
I-
just jumped
yeah.
off.
So second place, Scott Dion Brown, Thea Asadilio, and Regina Alaina tied for second at 9. East of Nowhere, who was on last week, along with Jenna Marie Donnelly, Anna Goldsmith, Leticia, Mika, and Alona Fiandaka are all tied for third place at 8. And then I'm not going to read all the others. But
Then there you
Jinny
are.
Wong and tied with Michael Chan for, well, second last, but not last.
But you do have a
3
chance
monkeys.
to redeem yourself either the next time you're in studio
Yeah.
or we are hoping to do like a full-on tournament, like actual.
We want to do an episode where it's just we get as many competitors from previous ones as we can, and we just do an entire episode of like Barrel of Monkeys Championship.
Okay.
I think I
So-
think I figured it out. I think if you all not subscribe, like us on Instagram, get us to 1,000, and then
And
because
then
we're
we'll do it?
close, we're almost at 800. We're almost there.
Really? We're out at 800?
We need at least 150 of you to like and follow us on Instagram.
But that's pretty good. I didn't know we had that many.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Good job. Well, everybody, that concludes this week's edition of the Barrel of Monkeys
Yes.
World Championship.
I'm going to practice.
Yeah,
I'm going to
you
practice
should.
for this tournament.
Train up for the next
You
one.
Yeah, I will.
should.
I will.
Like, what are we at now? First followers. We are at 847 followers
Wow.
on Instagram.
Look at that. Look at us.
So we
Look at
need
us
all
go.
of you to go to our Instagram and get us to 1,000, and then we can do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't believe every monkey jumped off the thing.
I
It's never happened.
know.
Never happened. It was
If you all follow us and get us to 1,000, we will have more followers than Scott Dion Brown does.
how many do I have? I don't think I have very many on Instagram.
901.
Really? I didn't even know I
yeah.
broke 900. Look at me.
I have
at that.
1,500s.
You have 1,500? Pretty good.
Yeah. What's Jinny got? Let's check Jinny out.
Okay.
Speaking of, where can people follow you?
Oh, yeah. Tell us what's your Instagram. Yeah.
At Jinny Wong on set.
She's got a lot of followers.
That's my main one.
Yeah.
And then for coaching advice, especially for, if you're just starting out in the biz, actors_who_book.
Nice.
Actors
Links
who-
in the description, everybody. They're all down there below, and there's Jinny Wong on set written there on screen. But I'll put all those links in the description, and they're there for you guys now because we're not exactly live. But yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Regine. Where can people find you?
You all can find me on my YouTube channel for the pageant sit down. It is now officially the month of June, so we are back on air. This week we are not, however, because it is Elizabeth's birthday this week, so we are
happy
giving
birthday.
her the day off. So make sure you follow me on or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Link is in the description. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at It's Regina Alaina.
There you go.
Scott,
Yeah.
where can people find you?
You can find me right here where you're watching this very video. YouTube.com/Scott Dion Brown. It's the best place to follow me because you don't just get the sit down. You get
Me.
Regine. Yeah. You get the gaming. You get the music. You get the vlogs. You get the comedy sketches. The unboxing videos. You get it all here, people.
So many.
Everything.
So many
things.
offerings.
I
So
know.
much. How do we do it?
How do you do it?
How do I do it? YouTube.com/scottdionbrown. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like. Right there. You can also find me on TikTok, Scott Dion Brown Official. But again, YouTube is the best place. All of the other accounts are basically satellites for the YouTube channel. Also, follow the show, The Sit Down with SDB on TikTok, The Sit Down with SDB on Insta. We're so close to 1,000 followers.
Get us to
Incredible.
1,000.
Sit Down Scott on Twitter. How many followers we have on there? No idea. But it's fine. Follow us there. And also follow us on The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown on Facebook. Yeah. Jinny, any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's going to turn.
That's true.
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, treat yourself every day to something.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like
Treat
that.
yourself.
Something. Yeah, treat yourself.
I like that. Future us in Coburg. Regine, I hope you enjoyed the movie.
I'll let you know next week.
Yeah, and fun stuff. We're having a great time.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, because we're going to be
The
in
fact
Coburg
that you
all day.
picked me up at 7 a.m. Let's hope that it's going
Yeah,
well.
it's a 2-hour drive to Coburg, so it's an all-day
Goodness.
event. So we'll see. Anyway, people, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button. Make sure you guys follow Jinny, follow Regine, follow me. Not in person. Follow us on social media.
No stalkers welcome.
Yep. Thank you for being here, Jinny.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah,
Can't believe we finally met in person.
Yeah.
I know.
It's wonderful.
I know.
No more
It's
Excel
exhilarating.
tapes on a sit down.
That's right. Yeah, we've crossed the threshold. It's
There
good
you
stuff.
go.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
So the way we like to close out the show is you grab the mug, we'll throw it to you, and you just say goodbye to the people however you'd like, and then you can sort of like
Cheers
it at the camera, like
Oh,
that
okay.
type of thing. Okay, so everybody, thank you guys for being here. Bye. And Jinny, take it away.
Bye. Thank you so much. Cheers.